What's up? It's time for more Blue Box. This is episode 3. I'm so excited and I just can't hide it for more of this wonderful show. It's gonna be brilliant. We're gonna get more Blue Box. Last week we had just like a nice extra simple episode. And what I did in the discussion of last video, if you didn't see, is I just like talked about Chinatsu's facial expressions for 10 minutes. So if you want to see that, go back to the previous video and watch my discussion. But like, you know, I love a show when I'm obsessing over small stuff like that. Yeah, this is so much fun. So I can't wait to see more of this. I think what happened at the end of last episode was by he I mean Taiki saw Chinatsu sort of walking home with Haryu, like, you know, or walking from school with Haryu. I think that was the last thing that happened. So let's jump into the episode and see. Make sure to support the video if you can, liking, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff helps me out a lot. And go to my Patreon account if you want the full-length reaction, early access, and exclusive videos for both this channel and my Gent Watches One Piece channel. Let's jump into this Blue Box episode 3. Aw, Hina. That's so sweet of Hina. She always stands like that. Probably don't want to be yelling that so close to her. How are you so pretty in this anime? You could have, you know. Okay, he is. He's picking up the ball. Gotta walk home together. Chii! It's such a cute nickname. I'm so respectful. Did you end up, like, is there a way for her to get in? I mean, she could knock on the door, would she? He was lying on the ground. Just say you were training. At least. Aww. Yes, but he was training. Aww. She's a very attentive person. Okay. Well, now I actually wouldn't say training. Now I actually would have taken credit for that. Yeah, focus on your sport. See, I'm thinking in terms of the romance, how to optimize your romance plan, but you've got a life outside of Chii. And that's what's great about this series. That's mature. Well, you don't want to see it. You have to challenge Haryu right now. Oh my god, the melting face! Don't get distracted. Oh, are they playing against each other? Oh, they are. Oh, cool. Pretty good, honestly. Your head's not gonna be fully in the game. This is kind of cool. The 3D animation's not too bad. I've definitely seen worse. Were you? He's focused. That's so awesome. That's so good. And that's what makes this series fucking special. And there's the promise band. Ooh. Oh, he's doing right well. I love the one-step motif as well. Like, that extra little step each time is gonna improve your game a lot. Oh, yeah. Big improvement. He wants to win. Yeah. He didn't win well enough. Yeah, no, finish that sentence. No, I wanna know. She's so cute. Just when I start thinking like purely about badminton, she comes back in. Well, yeah, but can we play with actual fucking badminton mats? I mean, nets? She's so thoughtful. Very different skills than basketball. Aww. She was watching closely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you won a section of the game. That's a good start. I think she's laughing because she gets it. She's so perceptive. He's like barely trying to hit it back, and she's having to line up. Aww. Well, believe in the chinatsu that believes in you. I just like panicked and looked at the time to make sure that it wasn't the end of the episode. It's a full class nickname. Man, I would be just eating that up. I would absolutely be walking home with a girl and then later just be going to school with that street cred, you know? We get so little like chinatsu internal monologue. Oh, like on the same team? Yeah, you're on the same team. Cool. Hey, well. He did overhear it. I like the power his serves look like they have. I like it. There's a decent amount of sports like animation in this episode. Now he's using it against you. Now that would be embarrassing, I think. Oh, you're gonna be so fit though. No, I don't get that vibe from him. Oh, look at that little like chinatsu in a princess dress.
Taiki, なんで今クロス打った？
Oh,
相手はバックで構えてたし。
I was gonna compliment that shot.
落ちないんだから。自分が楽だからで打ってると一生そのままだぞ。はい。
That is good advice. I did think that smash looks good though.
お疲れ。お疲れ様です。
That's nice.
今度こいつとダブルス組むことになってさ。ここで全然ダメでさ。まだまだ甘いところばっかり。
It's embarrassing, but he might be setting you up here.
大輝は強くなると思うよ。
Yeah, he's bigging you up.
最後までやりきるし。よかった。少しは期待してもらえてるんだ。
He likes you. Oh. Every drawing they do of this girl is so cute.
彼女から連絡来てたわ。彼女。
Mystery solved.
ああ、先週から。
Last week.
諦めよっかなって思ってたら向こうから告られてさ。
Damn.
小さい頃からの夢のために一生懸命で。
He likes girls who work hard.
この人全部分かった上で。
Damn. Beyblade X. This is a fun and cute ED. Oh, I'm so happy. This is the most comfortable, like, warm feeling show for me in such a long time. Like, I mean, it helps that Chinatsu is one of my favorite, like, you know, manga anime characters. In like she's like up there in probably my top 5 of all time. Like it's always been special for me because like definitely a type of personality character that I really like and a design that I love, and then on top of that she plays basketball and I love basketball. I play basketball every Thursday. It's Thursday today actually, so often when I'm watching these Blue Box episodes, that day I played basketball. So it's you know, I've got it fresh on the mind. Today, in fact, as a you know, update on my basketball, today our team won by like 30 points or something. We played really well, and we were, you know, the other team wasn't quite as good as us, obviously. But you know, not me necessarily. I didn't do that great. But yeah, my team like destroyed him. So yeah, I'm feeling like, you know, but basketball high right now. But obviously, like, the thing is, you know, it's focusing mostly on badminton. But you know, just knowing that she plays basketball is enough for me. I don't even need to see it. I just need to know that she does. I liked this episode. It was nice. It was a focus mostly on Haryu and his relationship with Chinatsu. And like the idea of like, oh, he calls her Chii, but then it turns out that's a class nickname. You know, everyone in the class calls her Chii. Makes a lot of sense. There are a lot of times where, like, you know, a big group of people decide on a certain nickname for a person, and it's like, so people from this group just know her as that. You know, like people from this class know her as Chii. Everyone there calls her Chii. So it would actually be weird to call her like Chinatsu-san or whatever, you know, Chinatsu-chan. So, but, you know, obviously other people who aren't in that class, it would be like, if you went up to her and went, "Hey, Chii," she'd be like, "What? That sounds strange coming out of your mouth." Like she wouldn't be used to that thing. Like, I have several nicknames from different groups of people. Like, my high school friends call me a certain name that is like my first name combined with my last name. And that's because because my first name is Jordan, right? A lot of people, there were 4, I believe, Jordans in my class. There were like we had a lot of Jordans. So because of that, each Jordan needed like a way to distinguish them. So most people were just called by, like, most Jordans were just called by their last name. But for me, I like my best friend came up with combining my first name and my last name, and it stuck. But then, you know, I have certain groups of friends who call me Jent. You know, I was known like online by a certain group of friends as Jent, and then I turned that into my online YouTube names as well. So there's certain people who just call me Jent, and then there's other friends that just call me Jordan, and there are even more nicknames that I've had over time. But it's like, if I hear different groups calling me those, you know, if like a group that calls me Jordan starts calling me Jent, I'll be like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you going into that territory, you know? So yeah, I can totally see how that would be the case here as well. Where it would honestly maybe be weird if Haryu was calling her Chinatsu at some point, because she'd be like, everyone calls me Chii in this class, why don't you call me Chii? Chii is such a cute nickname. I know it's so simple. Like a lot of Japanese nicknames seem to tend to be very simple like that. But like, it's just something about the sound of that is adorable. I love the Taiki's whole, like, I never want to use Chinatsu as an excuse for when I lose. That is just such an incredible, if we're talking about the writing of this series, the decision to make Taiki's character like that makes this series so refreshing. Like, if you're gonna do a romance / sport anime manga, right? If you're gonna do that, it is like the obvious thing to do in terms of storylines is, okay, here's a storyline where Taiki is bothered by, you know, by something with Chinatsu, and because of that, he's now off his game and he's losing. But they immediately tackle that in this show. By episode 3, they're tackling that kind of storyline. But actually, as soon as the game's done, his friend comes over and says, hey, so, you know, you doing all right or whatever? And he starts talking about the game, starts talking about badminton, and it's very clear, like, during the game, he's focused on badminton. You know, he's thinking about the game. And, like, that's what's motivating him. And he's not gonna be like, oh, I can't get Chinatsu out of my head, so I'm losing. Like, he's not gonna do that. And that's so good. Like, that's such a good way to write a romance show like this, because it makes these characters feel like they're not purely reliant on one another. And even though, like, we're here mostly for the romance, like, most people watching this show are going to be watching it for the romance part of it. So even though it's on the viewers' minds constantly, it gives Taiki and Chinatsu so much more depth that they just have their own lives, that they're just doing their own shit. Other than that, you know, neither of those characters are one-dimensional. They both have their own shit going on, and I love it. And I think something that I love about Chinatsu, going back to gushing about her, is, like, I say, you know, neither of these characters are one-dimensional, but the thing about Chinatsu for me is I think she seems like she is, like, in that it seems like she doesn't have as much depth as some romantic character leads or whatever. But the reason I feel like that is because, like, I get the impression she's a relatively shy person, like a surprisingly shy person. I know it doesn't seem like it, in terms of, like, you know, we see her talking to people a decent amount, and, like, she talks to Taiki pretty comfortably and stuff. But I do think that, like, in terms of her feelings on situations, she tends to be a little bit shyer. And I mean, you compare that to characters like Marin Kitagawa from My Dress Up Darling, who's like super outgoing and chatty and doesn't seem to have problems talking with anyone or whatever. Like, I feel like Chinatsu is like kind of an introvert, which I think is really like a big part of why I think she comes across on initial glance, to me at least, when I first look at her, as being a very simple character that maybe doesn't have much depth, but then it's actually pretty much purely that she's not as expressive. And I guess I talked about this a lot last week. I won't go that deep into it again, but something I love about her character is that she's not super expressive, and I think that's part of it. Her being kind of introverted also lends to her not being incredibly expressive. And you know, I say that as someone who I consider myself quite introverted, and I have a lot of social anxieties when talking to people, but I feel like decent at talking to people, and I do tend to talk to people with energy and with like I emote with people, so much so that some people consider me to be an extrovert, but that's because I'm kind of good at emoting to people and good at expressing myself, mostly when I'm like at least somewhat comfortable with the person, or I'm in a comfortable environment of some sort. But as soon as I'm like kind of out of that comfortable environment, I'm in an unfamiliar environment, I shut the fuck down, and I feel like I'm just like completely out of it, and it's an out of body experience, and it's terrifying, and I can't speak properly, and I stutter, and I freak out, and I can't like hold a conversation at all. I can't make eye contact. Like, there's so much of that stuff, and so it all depends on the environment. Anyway, Chinatsu, I love her. I also like the idea of Taiki taking criticism. Going back to what's amazing about Taiki, because I can gush about both of them. They're both awesome characters. I like Taiki's way of taking criticism, where he like takes the criticism, he hears it, he doesn't argue back, he just goes, got it, and then he immediately is like tunnel visioned on like getting that fixed. And like Chinatsu even said, you know, whenever someone gives you advice or criticism or whatever, you then spend hours in the gym practicing that. Like, you keep that in your head and you go like, well, no one's ever going to give me that criticism again. I'm going to fix that part of myself right now. So it's like when Haryu said, hey, you did a cross shot, but you should have done a line shot. Even though it was a bit more of an awkward shot to do, you would have had more speed to it. It would have been less predictable. The guy was setting up for a cross shot as well, so you would have been able to like screw with him. Like, he takes that advice, and Taiki goes like, got it, and then he immediately is going like that, which like makes him look like he's stimming, but he's actually like immediately like trying to drill it into his brain, like, do a straight shot right away, a line shot, go. You know, he's just getting it into his brain that he should be focusing on line shots at a time like this. So good. It's so good. But yeah, good episode, good focus on Haryu. I feel like with Haryu's voice actor, I had a certain voice in my head for Haryu originally, and then up until about halfway through this episode, it was like really not lining up with my idea of his voice, like not really at all. And I was like, okay, so this is a little, it was gonna take a bit to get used to. But I think it's about the time where he turned around and went like, so you like Chinatsu, huh? Like that, from that point on, he got a much more like teasing tone and like a deeper voice almost to him. That made it like, oh, that's lining up with the version of him that I know. I guess earlier in the show, they were really trying to show off this like pretty boy side to him, like almost like, you know, he's so talented and good looking and amazing and nice and all of that. So like make him look like he's got everything. But then once it starts to focus more on badminton and also him being a trainer, they focus more on like the masculine side of him, you know? So I guess that's when the voice changed up a little bit. But yeah, anyway, that was Blue Box, episode 3. Thank you for joining me. Make sure to support the video if you can, liking, commenting, subscribing, and go to my Patreon account for the full-length reactions, early access, and exclusive videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.